Good.
My brother, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you guys?
Can't complain. I like the mustache.
Man, we got to do something. I got kicked out of the house because I'm too loud, and my wife is so I'm in the garage, and it's been fun and games until today. Now it's got warm in here, so I got a little sweat going.
Yeah, the heat's going. The heat's picking up outside now.
A little bit.
I shaved yesterday and I did it in section just to see what I would look like. I had the whole thing and then I cut it off to a goatee. Then I cut this part off and then I left the mustache. Just trying to entertain myself because there's not much else to do.
I like them. I'm digging. I like the mustache. I might keep the mustache for a while.
I want to see you coaching the mustache next year.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. This is strictly summer activity.
How you guys doing? You guys all right?
Yeah. I mean,
You're good.
We're hanging in. Are you senior players at all?
Just on Zoom. We've had several Zoom meetings.
I've given them a few calls, like my captains and all that, but
it's a rare situation, right? How do we navigate through it? Just trying to find ways to make it work. It's definitely different. All right, So we got Coach Art Vela at Jefferson High School and Coach Brewer at Alamo Heights High School. First off, Art, how long you been at Jeff?
I want to say this is my fifth year at Jefferson High School.
And total, how long you been a head coach?
Head coach, 11 years, maybe 11. I was at Edison for about 6 or 7, 12 years, maybe going on 12, 11.
And then just in general?
When were you in there, Brewer? When were you in there, Brewer?
I've been at Heights for 9 as the head coach at Heights. So you were
maybe 11. I want to say I think I coached against Vargas. I think Vargas killed me when I used to go to this tournament when I was at Edison when y'all had a tournament there.
When did you get that Edison head job? What year?
I want to say 2009. So I think it's going on my 11th year then. 10th, 11th year.
Yeah. So you've been a head coach for 11 years. Yeah. I just finished 9 at Heights.
And time's flying by.
Seriously.
Man, it is.
How long you been coaching in general, Coach Brewer? Oh, total.
So let's see. I started off in 2000. I was at a private school in Dallas for 2 years. No, I'm sorry. I was the head coach at a private school in Dallas for 2 years. I was there for 4. And then in the fall of 2004, I moved to Houston, and I was at Hightower High School as an assistant for 2 years. And then in the fall of 2006, I'm trying to make this sure. Yeah, fall 2006, I moved to Alamo Heights. I was the freshman coach at Alamo Heights for 5 years, and then became the head coach in the fall of 2011. Nice. So I guess all told, I just finished 20.
20, nice.
Yeah, just finished 20 total.
Well, yeah. I'll say this about both of you guys. I have so much respect for what y'all do. You guys do an excellent job at your programs. So as far as this whole COVID situation, I know we kind of touched on it before the record button, but how are you guys holding up?
I feel like, at my place, I have some affluent kids. Like my kids pretty much have everything they need and want, and so I'm able to see our kids. I think Alamo Heights, was on the forefront of trying to get what we call continuous learning going on, and so it was the week. So we came back from spring break and we had no school. The following Monday, we pretty much started school. So our athletic period meets twice a week now, and what we do is my freshman coach is a guy who still plays and is still in really good shape, and he puts them through live ball handling drills, and guys have their laptops or their Chromebooks available, and so I can see them all on the screen at one time. But that sounds neat, but like we've done individual ball handling drills every day for twice a week for 5 weeks now. And so we're getting work done, but you got to be real creative to kind of keep them energized and keep them enthused and make it challenging. And I'm doing all sorts of things to have them work out every day. So, and they're doing it. I mean, like, Alamo Heights kids are pretty much going to work hard all the time. They're pretty much going to show up. They're pretty much going to do their job. And so that's what they're doing. They're still in a pretty good demeanor, it seems like. But it does get harder and harder to keep them interested. But I was talking to a coach today, and if there's any consolation in the situation, it's that we're all in the same boat. Oh, we're going to be so far behind. Well, guess what? Everyone else is going to be behind too. Absolutely. So I don't think that there's that much to worry about. We're just, I think, anxious. I guess probably the best word.
Yeah.
I kept telling people, Coach Vela puts on helps put on the summer league every year. I said, I'm in a pretty good mood. I'm doing pretty well, but if we don't get to play summer league, I'll be pretty upset. And it seems like that's what we're facing. And I want to see my guy. I love the summer league. I love watching them guys play 10 games, and I love it. And that we're not going to be able to do that. It doesn't look like. Art, maybe something I don't know, but that'll be disappointing, I think, for the kids too.
Yeah, like you said, everybody's over here on our side is anxious, and our kids over here, I think we have a lot of outdoor courts, parks and recs and woodlawn, but they've taken some of those rims off and they've covered the rims up, and so they've kept a lot of our kids out of the parks over here. So, and then through our Google Classroom, it's kind of tough because some of them are responding, but some of them may not have. I don't know, with our guys have internet or access to this stuff, but I made some phone calls. I like talking to kids, and I'm trying to tell my assistant coaches, make sure that we're staying in contact with our kids, I'm sure we're talking to them. I go but like you said, we're all in the same boat, I think. You know what I mean? We could do all this stationary stuff, and it's really,
but it's not like, you look back to when we were like, I just turned 44. And you look back on the summers when I was a kid, there wasn't a million. There's like 2 or 3 AAU teams in town. That was it. And I wasn't good enough to be on one of them. And I couldn't text my friends, and a lot of my friends were out of town or whatever. And so when I was a kid, you may have been talking about this right when I first got my audio and video hooked up, but like you had to find your own way as a player when you were coming along. How much do you love it? How many times we were talking, like popping in that NBA Superstars VHS tape of Hakeem Olajuwon and Jordan and Scotty, and Charles Barkley. And I'd watch that thing, and I get sweaty palms, and I go outside and shoot 100 free throws. And that's when the fire, that with my head coach was kind of getting us excited. But you can only hope that kids are finding whatever their NBA Superstars VHS tape is, whatever it is. Maybe it's this Jordan documentary. You hope that some fire is being lit inside them. And coaches, you can't do it. You can't do it all for them. You can put a little structure in place, but you just hope that. And we'll see, right? We'll see when we get back, like which teams, which players are better, which players got fat, which players are up, which players are ahead in the classroom, which kids are behind.
We might be talking about coaches.
I know I'm talking about you, coach.
Which coaches gain the most weight.
Yeah.
Right.
But I know the kids are anxious to do it, and actually, me and Joseph just met this. We met today. Not talking on the phone about summer league, and I met with my football coach because I kind of said I think everything's gotten pushed back so far for summer league that it might not happen. It might happen middle of June or even just in July. I told him, so I'm probably not going to have a summer. I'm probably going to try to a summer league just to get these kids going for a little bit, even if it's 8 to 10 games, 9 games.
We're in 100%, by the way. Whenever it is, just let me know.
Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing. Like we have huge. Well, it used to be bigger, but I have a big basketball camp, and I get 100 kids. Now it's good for me and my assistants, but it's also a great window to my elementary school kids and to get them fired up about basketball. And I was telling my wife that we're going to have to do something, just not necessarily to make money, but just to kind of keep the momentum going in our community with our kids. We do it at a reduced rate if our district will allow it, or else do something just to keep the fire going and keep momentum going. So I don't want this to go, nothing in the summer and all of a sudden the school starts in the fall and I don't see my basketball players again because they're in football or what have you. But I think at this point we're all hoping we can push things till July or August and do something.
Yeah, So I talked to my football coach, and they're looking at maybe hopefully middle of June. I mean, they're praying it's June, but then some people are saying because they do their camps and all that. Also, football does, and
right.
I was trying to say, well, if we how about basketball? I mean, we're gonna be able to run in July because they do the floors in July, and we'll see. I hope it works out. I hope we can get these kids back on. Like you said, that momentum's important to. I know for sure, and you, both you guys. I know for myself, you got to keep these guys occupied and ready to go, man. I don't want to show up and.
Well, and think about this, like, so many of us, and I will be more than I ever have before in my 9 years. I'll be relying on football players to play a lot for me next year. And so like June, our normal June is, 10 games with an Art and Joseph's league. And then we'll go to a team camp at Texas and get 5 games. So those 15 games go a long way. Like it's a snapshot before they leave. You don't get those 15 guys together again until, after Thanksgiving, if football goes to the playoffs. So this is going to really hurt. But, one thing that I told my guys, and I heard, I'm a Saints fan, and I heard Sean Payton say, like, the teams and the programs that have really good continuity, that have been running the same stuff for several years, or have the same assistants in place, or don't have turnover, or, any kind of, drama in their program, they're going to come out of this ahead of the game. So I think the three of us, hopefully have stability. You have stuff you've run, and so you can bounce back. And I don't know if you guys, I have a football player who's long and athletic, but for whatever reason has a hard time remembering plays. And so I started weeks ago. I would draw a play, take a picture of it, and say identify it. I said, well, why am I doing it just to him? So I started sending it to the whole. I have a group chat, like one set every single day. Identify it. You get bonus points. We have standings, like you get different points every day, and it's bonus points if you can identify the set. So I think we're all doing the same thing, trying to.
It's pretty good, Brewer. I want to try that.
Well, you know what? Like documentation, right? You don't want to be a tattletale. You don't want to be a nag on kids. But hey, when it's February and they're getting 6 minutes a night instead of 16. But hey, remember in April when I was quizzing you guys on plays every day, and I said, hey, would it kill you to draw every play, put it in a binder? And this crosses all. Like everybody's has advantages. Everybody's job is different. Everybody's job is hard. But one of the things that crosses all these lines is you have a pencil and a paper. Do you want to be successful? If a coach sends you a play, write that thing down, put it in a binder, and you have 17 sets, and you can draw them over and over and over and over and over, and you'll learn those things, and you'll be ahead of the game when school starts, So those are just, you can't do a lot.
Those are good.
You can't do a lot right now, but you can handle the ball by yourself, and you can know the plays.
Yeah, we'll do stuff like that. We'll do some ball handling stuff. My assistant coach is real good on huddle. He'll clip up. Hey, coach, get some stuff on our man-to-man defense, some positives, some negatives. Get about 10 clips. Go to the Google Classroom, and there's these questions that the kids have to answer.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah, what did our rotation mess up, or why was this successful? Or even if we got to stop, right? Where were we late? Yada yada yada. And so far the kids that again, right? You got a good handful of kids that are doing it. Then you got your other handful that aren't. But the ones that are doing it are going to come out of this at least a little smarter, a little more aware of what we're trying to do.
And I don't think any of us are seeing anything that's a dramatic departure from what we saw when the season was going on. The guys, guess what? The guys who are the first ones in the gym are the first ones to show up for a Google Meet, or the first ones to reply to a message. And it's the same thing. But I like that idea about posting clips like, hey, identify this set. They were on defense. Okay, who was in good position, who wasn't.
Almost like breaking down some film right now since we're off. They can look at some of that film.
And I told kids, like, you can't tell me, and our kids are complaining about there's too much schoolwork right now, but you can't tell me you don't have free time. And you can't tell me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about I guess growing up, in our childhood, what was it like for us? What were some of the things that maybe along the way pushed you towards this career that you chose of coaching and educating young people?
Art, who'd you play for?
Who did I from
high school?
High school,
Yeah.
at Jefferson under Mike Canfield. Really, I mean, my first, I think when I went to the Jefferson area when I was a sixth grader, and I ended a little middle school down the street. The way I played basketball, I got involved was in, your community centers, your parks and rec in the area. I mean, people got me involved. I mean, I couldn't play worth a lick. I didn't really start playing basketball till eighth grade. Man, I was terrible. I mean, but it just people around you. I don't know. Back then, it wasn't about how good you were. They kind of would throw me in the back of a truck and take me to the south side and play against that Parks and Rec over there. Yep. And people would coach you even if you were not very good, and support you. I grew up with my mother was a single parent, and so these people that were involved with me, they kind of a whole bunch of people kind of guided me through, playing Parks and Rec, and then until I got to high school, and then it started growing on me at Jefferson, and I picked it up from there. And then I was playing a lot of tournaments with these amateur Latino tournaments, and I met a lot of people through the basketball circle through that. It just kind of influenced the way the way I am right now, coaching wise, with the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it was the first place that I really felt like I got fit in. So my whole family is from Louisiana, and we moved to Alamo Heights when I was in the 5th grade, and didn't know a lot of people, brand new to town. Went to the Alamo Heights junior high, and I was just skinny and long, but wasn't very good at anything. Went to Alamo Heights High School, was a freshman, and that's kind of when it hit for me. I quit playing football. I was super skinny. I quit the band. I just figured, you know what? The head coach there, Charlie Bogus, kind of took an interest. I mean, I was 6'3" as a freshman. I wasn't very good, but he thought, when his kid's got size 15 feet, he'll turn out to be a player. Well, he was dead wrong. I never ever became a player, but I loved it. And my freshman year, Alamo Heights lost in the state championship in the Irwin Center to Port Arthur Lincoln, and I was hooked. I mean, I was just hooked. It's all I ever wanted to do. It's all I ever wanted to be, was an Alamo Heights basketball player. So that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. You find that drive within you. And back in the day, there was an outdoor court at Alamo Heights High School, and I'd be there all the time. My dad put a hoop on the roof of the house, and I would shoot in front of the house. And sophomore year, I was a JV player. Junior year, I was a JV player. I kid all the time, and I think it gives me credibility as a coach. I think, but I was a senior. I can tell you, the night I had my career high, December 21st, 1993, I lit up Roosevelt for 8. I mean, lit them up. I mean, it was 4 backside rebound putbacks for 8. And that's when they had Cliff Ellis was on the team, and Ivan Wagner was on the team, and they were loaded. We beat Roosevelt that night. And I feel like I can get players who just love it. And I think the program that Charlie Bogus built was able to get players like me, I think, who just love it and want to be a part of the program. And so, I decided I wanted to, when I went to college, I wanted to be a sports writer. I wanted to be the Spurs beat writer for the Express News. So I went to LSU and majored in mass communication. But then it doesn't take long when you're a competitor and you love it. Like being an outsider and being an observer is not going to cut it for you long term in life. You got to be involved, even though it can be painful, and the lows can be low, and the highs can be really high. That's the life that I wanted to follow. And so, coaching guys, like, you guys can really change lives. And where you guys are in your schools, you can change lives. And I talked to David Peavy, who played at Alamo Heights, is now the head coach at Duncanville. And when we were together at Hightower, he said, I was the poorest kid at Alamo Heights. And when I came back to coach there, he's like, I'm not really gonna change anyone's life, like really. And for him, he knew that wasn't going to be the place for him. I think for me, it is a way to, my kids are going to be okay. They have 2-parent homes, a lot of them, college educated parents, a lot of them, a lot of money, a lot of them. But I think if I'm just one more man in their life who's a good dad, and we can share in this love for playing basketball and competing, and there's certain things that, that doesn't matter what kind of background you come from. There's a time in your life when you got to execute under pressure. There's a time in your life when you got to do something you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. There's things like, I always talk to kids about, don't ever sacrifice what you want most for what you want right now. And there's so many temptations. Hey, listen, you can go to your buddy's ranch for the weekend and go kill a buck, or you can come to basketball practice and we can work on something together and maybe be pretty good. So, those are kind of all the things that Charlie Boggess, what he served in my life. I had a great dad, a great mom. I was going to be okay. But I think being one more voice in their lives is kind of what drives me, in addition to winning.
I think the bottom line, like what you said, is even where you're at, Alamo Heights, and where we're at, inner city maybe, it's still creating a strong young man. You know what I mean? It's not right. It don't matter how much money you got or how poor you are, but developing that character, that strong character and responsibility, and I think creating good men. Yep. Even if you're inner city, you can still be a turd. We're trying to get that and be a strong man, even if you're over there in Alamo Heights.
I had this player this past year, and I said, this is probably all kids. Hey, practice starts at 7:30 in the morning, and so this son of a gun would walk in practice at 7:29. He wouldn't untie his shoes; they'd be real loose. He would slip on his shoes, and at 7:30 he's ready to go. And every time. And I would pull him aside. He's like, "Well, coach, man, practice starts at 7:30." I said, "You know what? You got me. You got me on that. But you know what else? It's disrespectful to everyone else in the room who gets here 15 minutes early and they've been getting loose, and you're 15 minutes behind. That's going to serve you in a job and anything you do. It doesn't matter where you grow up. Being on time, being early, that's a good quality to learn."
Absolutely. We do the same thing. Practice is at 8 o'clock. Be there between 7:30 and 7:45. 8 o'clock is late, right? 7:30, 7:45, you're ready to go. That's on time. And that's how it is at work. You don't want to show up to work when you're supposed to be there on time, at the time designated. You want to get there early, get prepared mentally, get prepared with everything you need. So that way when 8 o'clock hits, we're ready to go. We don't have to get ready. And some kids get it, some don't. But the ones that do get it can take those lessons after they graduate and apply them in life. That both of you guys do a good job with the programs and teaching. You kind of wandered into another area I was going to touch on later, but we'll just get into it now. Just some of the more impactful moments as a coach that maybe you've had that come to mind, where you realize, winning and losing. Yes, we want to win. We're all competitors. This is why we do it. I've seen you both coached against you guys several times. I see the passion when you're on the sidelines. I see the competitive drive. Well, that's important. But when you realize it was more than wins and losses, and it was more about the kids and the relationships and the lessons, what are some of the moments that stick out to you?
For me, some of the most fun, the most rewarding parts of it occurs years after kids graduate. Mm-hmm. I think, having a discussion with a kid. I was talking to one of my players, or texting with him yesterday. A kid who graduated in 2014, the year that Coach Vela got his revenge in the first round and knocked us out from 2 years earlier in the first round. But I had a kid who went on to play at. He was not a super talented player, but he was really bright, and he went to go play at a Division III up east. and talking to him about one of our current players. We have an opportunity to go to the same place, having conversations with him as he's like a man and he's contemplating, maybe getting married, and those relationships. Those are things that are really, really special. I think that while you're in the battle and you're in the fight with the kid, when I say in the fight, I mean teaching these lessons about, holding your teammates accountable. That's one of the things that I think is really hard for kids. It's like when your teammate makes a mistake, it's really easy not to correct him. But when you're in the battle and you're fussing at one kid because it didn't correct his teammate or making a mistake, when you're in the battle, you don't know if it's really going to take. But as they get older and they realize that is important in holding your teammates accountable, and if you're on a group project with somebody in a job and your teammate and your group's not doing their job, and maybe you don't get the bid for this big project, that's going to hurt, man. That hurts your family. That's food on your table. You need to fuss at the guy on your team. Hey, man, your part of this report was due. And when that makes a difference, when they got jobs, that's super, super rewarding. So those are the things that I really enjoy, the relationships after the fact.
Yeah, I think on going off of that, like you said about X's and O's and winning and losing. I mean, if for these younger coaches, I try to tell them don't live off of that. I mean, because that you're not going to get rewarded right away, or it's not going to make you happy just getting wins and losses. I mean, I would not love to go to work and coach a bunch of guys that are just horrible people.
Yeah.
Or the thing is that helps me is I thrive off the interactions with all these kids and building these relationships down the road. Like you said, it makes me feel good as a person. It rewards me that way, not with the wins. I mean, yeah, we love to win, and I mean, sure enough, but I mean, I'm a competitive person and I want to come at people, but believe it or not, I mean, I love talking to coaches. I love talking to these kids and building these relationships with coaches and kids, and it just keeps me going year in, year out. Believing in some of these kids that people say, I don't think he's going to be a basketball player when he's a freshman, and then by the time he's a senior and he's starting for me and he's doing well for me as a good teammate. Those things are the ones that are rewarding. All the way from the days when I was a middle school coach to when I was at Edison as a JV coach, and then became a head coach. I think just some of these kids, when they leave us, when they come back, and they know that we did our best to make sure that we worked hard for them. We didn't, we believed in them. I didn't slack off and here's a ball. I don't believe in you. Go over here or get out of my way. It just, I think it's ongoing with, it's a different team I've never had before, more of a 6 foot and under team. I've never coached a team like that. I've always had two mid-sized guys, maybe not big guys, but, and 3 guards, 1 point guard maybe, but I had a bunch of guards that can dribble, and I had to make adjustments I was always set in my ways, and I listened to other coaches. I stole some stuff from other coaches, and hey, we tried to make the season as best we can and equip the kids with the way they were built. And I think that's just rewarding. The wins came. I mean, we got a few wins. It worked out, but year in, year out, when I see that, when we thrive like that with kids, and we believe in them and we have a little success, I think it's exciting.
One of the things that Charlie Vargas, who's my predecessor and has won over 800 games and is in the Hall of Fame, one of the things he told me, I think I was still in college, and I think I told him I wanted to coach, and this didn't really make any sense at the time because I thought that was really, really, really cool and really, really, really likable. He said, the measure of a coach is when they lose the team, but they find a way to get the team back. So I think we've all had times in our seasons like, oh, I've lost them. Like, we lost the game. Well, you lost. We've all been there, right? Like, you lose a game and you talk to your assistants And Stan Leach, by the way, says never, ever listen to your assistants because they don't have to live with the decisions. But one of the things, you listen to your assistants and then you say, okay, now we lost a heartbreaker. Does this team need a pat on the back or do they need to butt chewing?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we pick right. I think a lot of times we pick wrong. And we had a night this year where we lost. St. Mary's Hall was way better than we were. And we managed to give the game away in regulation and lose in overtime. And I decided that this team that we had this year was a district championship team. And I butt chewing, and that was going to get it done. Well, I gave them a butt chewing, and I hadn't really predetermined that I was going to give a butt chewing, but we were kind of sloppy in practice and weren't doing things well. And I gave them a butt chewing, and the butt chewing morning practice on top of not having a gym, on top of our best player not playing great. I lost them there for about 10 days, 2 weeks. And I think that one of the things that is really rewarding, I think maybe Art was talking about it for a second, was that if you get a team to believe in you. 2 years ago, we won 30-something games and went to the state tournament. When that season was over, it was just such a relief because it was a battle to get those guys to believe in us all year long. And this doesn't happen a lot either now that I just finished year 9. But when this season ended this year, we lost in the second round, I could not stop crying. Like I was that Oprah ugly cry because these guys believed, and I'm like ruining my shirt and my coat, and like parents come down on the floor and I'm hugging parents and like mascara's getting on my face and my sweat's getting on there. I mean, it was just one of those incredible moments, and it wasn't really record-wise a very good year, but to have them believe in us and us win a playoff game, that was probably more rewarding, more fulfilling, I should say, than maybe one of those seasons where you win 30 games. And you can't tell. You never know how it's going to be. But it was one of those years that I got this group to believe. No one said we're going to be very good. All my coaching buddies said, Brew, just get through the year. But to win 20 and win a playoff game was just something special. And that it's one of those things that you can't anticipate. But Coach Boggess was right. When you get them back, that feels really good after you've lost them. And I'm sure Art's never lost a team ever because he's always sweet and kind to his players.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you a story. My first year at Alamo Heights tournament, Boggess gave me some advice. I was having my first year as a head coach. I remember this, bringing that up. We were playing, I want to say, did you guys carry Warren or Keller was coaching, I think.
Maybe Warren was there. I don't think I was there yet.
Keller was coaching, I think, a Northside team maybe, or?
No, Jay Keller was at he opened Warren.
Warren, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we were playing them in Alamo Heights, and they had some super teams back then. And I had, that was my first year. I had all sophomores starting pretty much. It was my and we had been getting our butts whooped. And I took it real personal. Like, we were trying to win games, and Boggess pulled me aside and said, "Hey, you don't worry about these non-district games. Don't worry about this. You're gonna stress yourself crazy. Just worry about getting into district and trying to win some of those games." Yeah. And I was stressed about just winning every game back then. When you first start, you go crazy about being a competitor. But he was right. I was stressing. Said, get your kids to play in these other games. If you get your butt whooped, you get it whooped. But when you get into district, we had the worst record in the state that year out of 500 teams, I think, to make the playoffs that year. I think we were 7-7 in district, but 9-20 something.
Wow. You must. I've always, and I haven't never told you this, but you must do something to earn your kids' trust, because you get up inside their butt during games. I mean, you are in them. And you don't ever, I've never seen one of your players gesture poorly, talk back, anything. So you must do something somewhere along the line to get them to trust you and love you.
Yeah, I think, like I say, year round, we do, how we always do summer league and tournaments. I think it's just constant relationships and talking to them. Yeah. And, I always try to remind them, I said, I got you here for a reason. If I get after you, don't take it personal. I always try to remind them. You always got to teach them and coach them up, and I think in criticism and constructive criticism and all that. And you got to let them know And I think I've been lucky. I think the one kid that did give me hell was probably my oldest son, Artie.
Well,
You know, I had to talk to him. But other than that, I think he was thinking of me as dad. But other than that, I think just constantly talking. I think you guys do a great job of relationship with kids, and you talk to them. I think that just helps those coaches. I mean, build.
I don't know how much time you have, but I think Marcus and I are probably in the same boat. I think I'm sooner than Marcus is. I got my son in the 5th grade, and knock on wood, I hope that I can keep the Alamo Heights community at bay for another 7 years and coach my son. But how was that?
Oh yeah, I'm hoping, but I don't know if he really wants to play. He wants to coach. He said he wants to be a coach for the McCollum Cowboys. He asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I used to want to be an astronaut, but now I want to be a coach for the McCollum Cowboys. And
That's awesome.
Kind of led into another question I was going to ask. What was it like coaching your kids? Both of them, right?
Yeah, I got to coach both of them, and you know what? It was probably the best thing in the world. I mean, looking back at it, I had a lot of coaches I've talked to had bad situations, didn't fight through it. I think I got good advice from like Art Gonzalez. I don't know if you remember Art Gonzalez. He was our AD and SSD. He was a coach, and he coached 2 sons. And then I got a few people that I knew that coached their kids and had real good success with it. And it just, you have to leave everything in. You have to leave when you have to leave. And I know we're such competitors. Over dinner, I probably would have been fighting with them and trying to choke them over over dinner about, hey, you made this turnover or anything. But I think you gotta let them bring the conversation to you, and you gotta be, especially I was at Edison. If your son wasn't very good and you were playing him, those kids over there would have ate him up. He had the thick skin, and you as his coach have to be thick-skinned, because there's going to be people that are going to question you as a coach. Well, your son, you're playing him because he's, your son. And I mean, you have to really have tough skin, avoid looking at the social media, looking at all that stuff. And there's more pressure on your kid because you expect more also from them. And, but I think one of the special moments, if you guys are able to do it, they'll always fight through it and take care of your son, but hold them to the expectations of all the other kids, and it worked out. But I mean, it wasn't beautiful at the beginning. I'm your parent, and this is where you're going to be. It's because I would have never saw him play. We play on the, and I told him, and I fought through it, and I said, you're going to commit yourself to being here at Edison with me. And sure enough, he committed himself in his junior and senior year. I mean, it was like having another coach. It's going to be crazy when you coach your kids, because he's going to be around so much basketball. It's going to be kind of like a mini you out there. And then that's where you're going to bump your heads, because he knows what you want and you know what's expected from it. It's just crazy. But it's fun. I mean, I'm not going to, if you can do it, if you have that opportunity to do it, there'll be something special you always carry with yourself down the road.
Yeah, we had an opportunity. I've coached Jack very little, but we were in a 3-on-3 tournament, and we had played a team. We were in the finals, and they were just going right by us. So I called timeout, and I said, guys, everybody just have 1 foot in the paint. Everybody have 1 foot in the paint. They come down. And then they get to the rim. I said, put a foot in the paint. They got a foot in the paint. And the next time they drove down, kicked to the guy in the corner. The guy drills a 3. Jack comes off, tears. Oh, man, you told us to put a foot in the paint. You told us to put a foot in the paint. I was like, hey, man, you can't stop every. But like, hey, coaching's not magic. You just play the pitches. And we drove home, and I thought, oh crap, he was sad, but he was mad at me. Like, oh, this is your fault.
He's been around the game enough to know. Yeah. He knows more than you think. That's a crazy part, that my kids have been around coaches talking. It's a bad thing in a way sometimes, but my sons have been around so many coaches, other coaches, and they listen to all that stuff you're talking about, and they pick it up. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to see them grow. They grow real quick in coaching sense, that they might even be better than some of your assistant coaches.
Then they break your heart. I swear to Jesus. On Monday, we had to go pick up some lunch, and we came home, and we had watched that Michael Jordan. I don't know if y'all saw part 1 and 2, that Michael Jordan Sunday. And I thought, man, my son's a student of the game. My son's going to be a hooper. He's like, hey, Daddy, when we get home, can we watch that Michael B. Jordan documentary?
Michael B. Jordan.
No, sir.
Yeah.
You're into LeBron and all that.
I know.
I'll say this about your boys. I can see it in your boys when they play. You know, even I see them play still to this day, and you can tell that they're smart and they understand the game a little differently than other people on the floor with you. Especially Art's more of a point guard, penetrate, makes the right decision, gets people involved, and you can just see the way he processes the game. You know. Yeah,
and I tell a lot of coaches call me and ask me about. Some of them are coaching their kids now, and I just tell them, man, just constantly just communicate with them, man, because they're gonna grow fast and they've been around you and they know they're gonna understand the game, their mindset, and it's gonna be totally different from other kids.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about a couple battles that you guys had that are memorable, that come to mind.
Oh God.
You guys had a bunch, I'm sure.
I have two. I have two moments, and with Art, and and they may, in my mind, in my career, they talk about the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. And I'll tell anybody, and I told our baseball coach this, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but the 2 times I've won regional finals, those are up there with the greatest days of your life, of my life. And I'll tell you why. It's because you've gotten to the mountaintop, and going to the state tournament seems so far away. It's a week ahead of time. And that was just a mountaintop moment for me. And it was a long time ago, but that was really, really high. And then, 2 short years later, maybe one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. In 2014, we were number 1 in the state. We had gone state tournament, regional finals, and then in 2014, so 2012 state tournament, 2013 regional finals. But in 2014, we had everybody back from the regional finals team, including a 6'10" post player who went on to play at Georgia Tech, and now he's playing in Spain. And 5 games into district, we're at Kyle Lehman, and Ben, our 6'10", goes to get an offensive rebound, and 2 Lehman players go to box him out. He falls awkwardly. He breaks his kneecap and tears everything up inside of his knee. So he had to have microfracture surgery. So you go from, and at that point we were number 1 in the state. And then we had a bunch of games to go. And we found a way. We played Clemens and lost. We played Kerrville Tybee and won, went to Hayes and lost, and got into the playoffs tied for 2nd. And we flipped the coin and had to play Art and Edison in the first round. And when you go from, and it's really good, a life experience for me, when you go from being number 1 in the state to being down at 20 at halftime of the first round of the playoffs, you really got to do some soul searching as a coach. Not only am I hurting, not only am I stunned, not only am I mourning what could have been, but I've got to say something to these kids. It's halftime. We're down 20 to a team that we beat early in the year by we played at Marble Falls, Art, and we won by 17 or 18 or something like that. And now
you beat us really good.
Well, we were really, listen, we were really good.
Yeah.
We were really good. And that was early in the year. And now as a coach, 3 weeks before, I'm thinking we're going to win the whole damn thing. And I'm thinking about how we're going to beat Beaumont Central, because they were really good at that time. Like, how are we going to beat Beaumont Central? And then we'll have to play, Kimball or Carter or somebody in the championship, and we can get it done. This is my mindset. And then you fast forward 2 weeks, you're down 20 in the first round. And that's it. In my memory, there was a lot of people playing there, and a lot of people in the gym, rather. And I'm playing guys that I never thought would be guys that would play 28 minutes a night, and I'd have a sub play, a post play 4 minutes. All of a sudden, that guy's playing 26 minutes and getting taken to the woodshed by whoever the hell you had in the post, and and then you're facing those guys, and you have 8 minutes at halftime or 10 minutes, and you got to tell them something. You got to find a way to get them to be fired up and compete and figure out if they can find a way to win. And you got to convince yourself that there's a way that you can win. So I think, and Art was there in both of those in my mind. And, we're the adversary that I have a lot of respect for. So those memories that, I won't ever forget. And now I get a 2-year break at least from the Mustangs part.
I get a 2-year break from you.
Yeah.
No, it just those. You're right. Those two times, and then really what sticks out in my mind is that 2012, right, when you went to state. Is that the right year?
Yeah.
And I mean, we met regional finals, and it was. I mean, Alamo Heights.
You guys knocked off Brennan. That was a big upset. You guys knocked off Brennan.
We weren't supposed to be. Yeah, we weren't supposed to be there. I don't think, beating Brennan, and then then we're going against Alamo Heights, and I had a lot of respect for them. I knew they were well coached, and they had some big kids and were solid kids, and I'm thinking as a coach, I mean, we're competitive. We're going to try to win this game, and we fell short. We lost, and then what really sticks out on me, I got to coach. I don't know, that year they had a St. Mary's All-Star game at St. Mary's University.
Right.
I got to coach that All-Star game. They gave me, they let me have that coaching duty, and I had a few of Brewer's kids out there. We met for a practice or two, and then I really realized how, I mean, my kids were up against these guys were really good, and I enjoyed coaching them in the All-Star game, and I had a lot of respect for that. That those kids, they were the better team that year. They deserved to go to state, but once I was able to coach them in the All-Star game, I was like, you had some characters on that team, didn't you?
Oh yeah, we did.
But I think that was a special moment that I got to, for maybe 1 or 2 practices, I got to coach a Heights kid, and for an game, and
it's fun. Our community's fun in that there's lots of different styles of basketball being played in San Antonio, and it's really good for us, to play teams like you, especially in the summer, where we run so many sets and so many things as timing, and you guys just play hard all the time. It's one of the things that we have to get over, and hopefully we get to that point in January and February. But we feel like, McCullum kids and Jefferson kids, Lanier kids, they're outside playing and they play hard all the time, whereas our guys don't do that all the time, and we just can't replicate that kind of quickness and things in practice. But all the different styles is fun to see in San Antonio.
That's what I think it helps. It helps us, and I think I try to preach that to some of these Northside coaches in Northeast. I know they got a lot of talent out there. They're big, but I think different styles, I think, helps teams deal with different things. Yeah. You look at our district, SASD's, mainly guard play, a lot of scrappy guard play, and like, Coach Brewer was saying, that style, sometimes doesn't work for some of these other teams. They have difficulty getting over that style, and hard. And we might not be the most talented, but we're going to try to play hard, and night in, night out, and try to get the most out of kids. And I think this off season, that's what helps when we try to get these kids to play together, chemistry wise, and try to play different teams. The McCullums, the Alamo Heights, and they see that different style. It's it helps our kids, I think, develop.
That's why I thought our district this last 2 years for us was really good, because you saw so many different styles. I mean, you got Wagner on pace to contend for a state championship, and they're playing as fast as, I mean, we play fast and we play scrappy, and they're just so much more athletic and better at that style, right? And then you got Kerrville, Tivy, Bernie Champion that's not going to play nearly as fast. They're going to execute. Bernie's going to shoot a lot more threes. Champion's going to be physical. I mean, Tivy's going to be a lot more physical, execute their stuff, and it was just fun to scheme and game plan and try to make adjustments for all the different styles. And so I appreciate all styles. I have a good time. I just love what I do.
Yeah, it's
stressful. I'm not gonna lie, it's stressful.
Yeah,
it's stressful planning during district. It's, as a coach, you want to for your kids, but I'm not. It's part of the game. I get stressed. I get ready.
I feel like team over here. I feel like preparation has come a long way. I've been in San Antonio now for 14 years coaching, and I feel like preparation has come a long way in those 14 years. That's one of the things I wanted to do when I took over is we're going to have a detailed scouting report before and I started doing just district, and now I started doing every single non-tournament game. I have a pretty detailed scouting report, and I learned a lot of that from Brian Young at Tybee. And one of the things that I do that I learned from him is talk about preparation. Is like we try to, if we don't know what you're going to run, we're gonna call it out and we're gonna learn it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
So if Art says Mustang, I may not have a hair of a notion what the hell Mustang is.
My kids like that. He freaks out.
Like, oh, how they know our plays? Like, no, we don't know any of that. But
I told my kids the same thing. Hey, if you call it, those kids don't know that you don't know it. So just call it out, echo it, and you might throw them off. If anything, you may throw off the timing just enough to mess up the.
It'll get you a turnover. So here, a couple of tricks for young coaches. You want to get 2 or 3 turnovers a game. You want to scream other team sets first, and then if your guy's setting up for a charge, the head coach and every player on the bench has got to scream charge, and the referee, it's a bang bang play, to be like, I guess it's a charge, and you'll get a charge. So that's 2 buckets. That's 2 buckets a game you'll get. Just scream charge.
I'm gonna try to counter that next time I play you.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna do that.
He doesn't really know we're running. Run it anyway.
Oh no, I'm not gonna lie. He freaked out. I don't know if it was last year's group or he freaked our group out. They turned the ball over so many times. They know our plays, coach. I just know they might.
Oh yeah, the first year.
I've been running the same thing for about 10 years, but
right.
You should have seen the kids. I wanted to laugh about that. I know we were getting.
I think Marcus. I think Joe Davis is the one who started doing that at Tybee. I don't know, but do you recall Joe doing that? You know, Brian's assistant.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he does.
No.
Games, but,
you know what?
I think I've
heard him echo our plays so many times this year.
That's who I played in my first year as a head coach was Brian Young in Kerrville.
Yeah.
That's when Art Gonzalez, my AD, got after me because I fought with Coach Young in the athletic office about where we're gonna play, neutral side, neutral. He's gonna battle. I was a first year coach, and I told Coach Young, you know what? Let's flip for home and home. Let's go. And Art Gonzalez, my AD, got after me. No, you don't want to go to Kerrville. You do not want to go up there. I said, sir, I got a bunch of sophomores. Why not? Let them see what it's gonna feel like in playoff atmosphere where they're gonna get after you like that. Yeah. And we went up there, and sure enough, Coach Young, they knew he's very prepared. He knows every play that you're going to do, and they called out plays, and I had to stall for about a whole quarter just to keep the score down, with him because he had a pretty good.
Bogus asked him when Bogus was the head coach at Heights, and he was at Tybee, and Bogus says, we played 9 non-district games, and you've been at 7 of us. Yep. 7 of them. How many times are you going to see us play before? About 10? Yeah. It's only the first one is in person. That's not the films he gets.
I saw him. We opened up district play with them this season, and I saw him at so many games. I'm like, how do you not have a game tonight? How are you even here? And
it's not to mention the fact that it's an hour drive, and he has both assistants with him.
Yeah.
Like how assistants aren't divorced, I have no idea.
But he's very well prepared, and you got to appreciate that, though. And we had some really good battles this year. I know the first game at McCullum went down to the wire. We lose by 4, and then we go to Kerrville, and it's just a war. And it's just a battle. They're physical. We're getting after it. We're scrapping
this year.
And we have a lead with about a minute and a half, minute 45, and we end up losing by a couple points. And it was just a great atmosphere, great game. I mean, both teams weren't backing down. It's a fun atmosphere to be a part of. Absolutely.
Well, and that's another coach's kid, playing for his dad.
Yeah.
Jackson had a good year, and seemed like they had a good run together.
That kid could shoot.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap this up, let's ask you a question real quick, and you guys answer as honest as you want. I'm not going to ask you who the greatest basketball player of all time is. This whole MJ, LeBron situation, everybody's hyping it up. But if you had to win one game and you absolutely only had this one game to win, who are you picking on your team, LeBron or MJ?
I'm going MJ. I grew up.
Michael. I want Michael too.
Yeah.
I want Michael.
Yeah.
What is it about?
Maybe because I grew up in that time, but man, I thought he was the world, man. When I was growing up as a kid.
So the ultimate compliment I can ever give a player. I think I've coached two. I think Jeffrey Rodewald and Jonathan Dunn are the only two killers I've coached. Like they will do anything to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really sure, and I could be wrong, but it's just a gut feeling. I don't get that feeling from LeBron. I think Michael was a killer. I think Michael wanted to just that's the thing. That's the ultimate compliment I can give a player is to be a killer, and that was that's Michael for me.
I mean, you could just look at what they said on that film that he played injured. He wanted to play injured. Most I think if they're injured, they're gonna sit out. I mean, I'm with Brewer on that.
You don't see that. They call it load management, but in his second year, when they were giving Michael 8 minutes a game. You see how mad he was when he got pulled out?
He was upset.
Yeah.
I mean, he was upset.
I'm not going to be a good old day, guy, but you don't see a lot of players like that getting taken out and being sore about it. Like they're like, that's load management. I'm taking a night off. That's not Michael. Now, it could have been a different time, but facts are facts, and he didn't like it. Different time. He grew up in a different childhood, but that's the reality.
Then you can see it in his eyes. Just in the documentary, you can see when he was in kill mode. You just look at Mike's eyes. It was a sight to see for sure. Well, I appreciate you guys hopping on.
This was fun, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I enjoyed it, man.
Coaches have a lot of insight and about 1.5 billion stories to tell. So I appreciate you guys.
We don't need to talk very much because we're all in quarantine, but this has been fun to talk.
Absolutely. If you guys need anything along the way, hit me up.
All right.
Yes,
thanks a lot, guys.
You guys take care, man. Be safe.
You too.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Huh? Your head is bald. I always go low.
You need to shave it, man. Just go with the easy haircut, dude. Get a razor. Do it, man. Save some money too, man. On the blades, man. Hey, how's everything going?
I'm good, man. I don't know if I can let it all go yet.
Dude, let it go, dude. Don't stop fighting it, man. I tell my coaches that are losing their hair, dude, stop fighting it, bro. Let it go, man. Just jump right in it, man.
I shaved my beard yesterday. It had been a little while for I let my beard grow a little bit. Every time I let my beard grow, I find more gray hair.
Oh, it gets worse, dude, once you get older, man. How old are you right now?
I'll be 36.
36?
I'll be 36 in June.
Oh, man. That's prime. Your prime time.
They've been recruiting me for these 35 and over leagues like crazy.
I bet. They're trying to recruit you, dude. Shoot. I'm ready about 50 almost.
I went to Vegas with these guys.
Did you?
Well, I think Lowe and them were out there.
Oh, that.
So I played with the Open, and it was all right. And then I also played with the 35 and up group, and we ran that place. We ran through it.
It's those guys that stay in shape.
Yeah.
That are going to be able to compete. I mean, because I'm playing it when I play in those 40 and over leagues, and those guys that used to be terrible basketball players back in the day, they're killing me.
They're in shape.
They're in better shape.
Yeah.
They're in shape, I think when you get to 40 and over, it's about guard play too. You got to have good, quick guards that are in shape, man. Then 40.
Yeah.
It's all good, man.
Hey, the moment I can't shoot a jumper no more, I'm just gonna hang it up.
Oh man.
When my jumper's gone, I don't see the point of playing no more.
Yeah, it's hard, man. You realize how basketball. I played open division up to like I was 40, maybe 40 something, and 40, my early 40s, and then when I pulled my shoulder out, try to get out there again. I just go to hang out with my old friends. That's it, man.
Yeah.
Like if they go in mile, I'll go hang out, but I'm not gonna travel with nobody. Or
you think about it, like I played in Cinco de Mayo every year since I was 18, right? So almost 18 years, and you even longer, right? You've been out there. So now this summer, there's probably no Cinco de Mayo tournament, right? So so then you think, man, what am I gonna like? It feels weird not going down to to Woodlawn on Sunday and
hanging out with the guys.
Yeah, just kicking back. You know, even if you lose, you hang out with everybody.
And see, when I was growing up, they didn't have no club, so they used it was 18 and under on the Latino tournaments.
Yeah.
So we used to, when we were young, 15, 16, they didn't have those little big tournaments, you know. And the AAU, when we were doing it, was like you could only allow 3 on a team, you know what I mean? But they only allowed 3 per school to play in a club team.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah, now, you know, the kids are spoiled, man. They can put a team in that. That's what freaks me out. But yeah, I think it pays off in the long run.
You can't pay for that kind of stuff, right? When the team just gels and they mesh.
Chemistry with the kids. Did you see Ellis? Ellis got that.
Yeah.
Did you see got that job?
Yeah, he got the job at Temple. That means
so that Clemens opened up, man.
So what's going on over there? Who's gonna apply for that one? Good job.
I don't know. That's oh yeah, that's some good kids there. It's a good district too, right?
Yeah.
District's tough.
Yeah.
Right. Judson, Wagner.
Where's he at? I see his picture. Well, not his picture, but.
Man, I'm surprised he's late. That guy's always punctual, man.
Well, he's got the mustache. I like it.
He got that mustache going.
He's having a technical difficulty with Zoom. So we'll talk. We'll just check in how they're doing. I don't want to do a whole lot, you know, stress them out. I do want to work it out. You better be doing some kind of push-ups and some ball handling drills in your driveway. I mean, when I was a kid, if I was home, I was in my driveway just going crazy.
That's you though, man. I don't know about the kids, man.
Well, it's like everything. There's a good handful of them that are doing it, and then there's we'll do what we do.
You know what? I think the group I have right now that are coming back, they're working out.
Yeah,
I hope they are.
Can you guys see or hear me now?
We can hear you.
You can't see me?
We can hear you. We just can't see you anymore.
How about now?
Looks like it's trying to see. I just see a gray screen. Art?
I don't see you.
I see a gray screen.
Okay, this is my first Zoom. We're doing Google Meet.
Well, your video's off. Click your video button on the bottom, maybe.
Okay, it is. It's got a line through it.
There you are.